another episode of Luna Digital Portals, Fyind Talks. I'm Mona Mirza, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today. As we approach the end of another year, it's time to ask ourselves an important question. How prepared are you for 2025? For this, we are thrilled to welcome Mr. Mubarak Mansoor Ali, a UK-based HCPC registered clinical psychologist, to help us delve into this important topic and guide us towards a successful new year. With extensive experience in mental health and well-being, Mubarak currently serves as a lead psychologist in the UK and is deeply passionate about empowering individuals to unlock their potential and achieve meaningful change. Beyond his clinical expertise, Mubarak is a dedicated advocate for mental health awareness, committed to shaping the future of mental health. His mission is to inspire hope, foster resilience, empower individuals, and create a lasting positive impact in the lives of those he serves. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Mubarak. It's an honor to have you here, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mona. It's an honor to be here with you and share my insight and experience with our listeners and with one goal and one agenda to make a difference in their life and obviously in 2025 as well.
Thank you so much. To begin with, many of us start a new year with resolutions, but by March, or let's say even before that, most of them are actually forgotten. So from your perspective, Mr. Mubarak, how can we set realistic and meaningful goals for year 2025 that actually stick a little longer, and why preparation both mentally and practically is so important as we head into the new year? Yeah.
Well, that's, I believe, one of the most asked question and one of the most prevalent questions. So I'll first begin with why New Year resolutions does not work or does not last long. Usually, what I have seen in my patients or people I work with or this community that I work with, one of the biggest reason is that our goals or our New Year resolutions are actually influenced by others, by media, or by people that we live in, or by trend that's going on. One of the most common trend is starting gymming, is starting losing weight or things like that, eating healthy, because that is actually an external one, and probably that's not our real goal. Probably that's not what we want to do. So one of the most important thing is to reflect and identify your own needs. What do you need? I'll just give an
Right.
example. Probably all of us check ourselves in mirror at least like 5 to 10 times a day, or probably more. And I would just like to ask you yourself, why do you check yourself in mirror? To our listeners, why do you check yourself in the mirror? There must be a reason, right? To check
Right.
out if everything is good, to just identify if there's any improvement in how I'm looking, if anything is wrong, if anything is off. So similarly, going into New Year, what my mantra is, I always reflect my year, how 2024 has been. What are my achievements? What are my strengths? What are my areas of improvement? What worked? What did not work? And make a list out of it, all right? And obviously, what are your strengths? Your strengths can help you and will help you in 2025, in New Year. And there must be areas of improvement, all right? This will come
Right.
naturally and organically, and you can create New Year resolutions out of that. And that goals, I believe, will last long if you have a conviction, and obviously if you want to make a change in your life, because that's something that coming out of yourself, coming from your heart or coming from your soul, rather than just
True.
trend or influence of your friends or circle or other things. So I believe reflection and this may example. Another example is just a brief one. Just imagine that you're going on a picnic or a tour or somewhere, right? You actually make a backpack and you add things in your backpack. So just
Right.
that you're going into 2025 and you have this backpack, and just reflect on it. What would you add in your backpack? What would you need?
Right.
What would you don't need? Right? And that's how we head up.
That's true. So interesting. In fact, it's so convincing. Right. So, new year and new uncertainties, let's put it that way. And if
Yeah,
there's one thing the last few years have, taught us, it's
yeah,
the importance of resilience. So, what
yeah.
practical steps can individuals take to mentally prepare for the unexpected challenges in 2025? Yeah.
That's a difficult question and a very interesting one. I'll start with accepting ourselves. Right, so
Mm,
what usually happen is that we often, well, majority of the times, we actually live an image that people actually tell us, right? That you should be like this, you should be like that, and then we create our own bubble. And because we are living in a bubble, we cannot experiment with ourselves. We cannot go out of that bubble. It's called a comfort zone. So
true.
what's most important thing is to start accepting yourself as you are, all right? And
Right.
look within. What are your strengths? What are the areas of improvement? How you want to be yourself? And one of the most important thing that there is a channel as well on YouTube that I used to prescribe or recommend to my
Mm-hmm.
clients called Yes Theory, Seek Discomfort. So seeking discomfort actually unlocks our truest potential and our strengths and resilience and everything. So one of the most important thing is to just identify your bubble and start going out of it. Start taking baby steps. Obviously, you don't have to make a big change right off it, but
Yes.
accept yourself and seek discomfort, right? Because when you are in discomfort, you identify your strength because your body actually goes into the survival mode. Your body have to survive, right?
Mm,
Your mind have to survive.
right.
And that's how
That's
you unlock your untapped potentials. So
mm,
accept, believe, and seek discomfort.
right. That's interesting too. Great. So, actually, so as the world, becomes busier and finding balance between work and personal life seems
Yeah.
even harder than ever. So, what's your advice for our listeners who want to maintain their mental health while still chasing professional success in 2025? Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I believe, one of the most important questions in today's world, not only for the new year, but for this new post-COVID world as well, because work from home or work from office or on-site or hybrid or remote, that's quite challenging.
Mm,
So, you need to reflect, right? So, identify your goals. What are my goals and how much time it is going to take? You can literally create a schedule and work schedule and your personal life schedule for suppose what happens when you go back home and what happens when you reach back home and create a lifestyle, right? Because what happens is that when we don't have anything planned or when we don't have anything scheduled, all right, then we fill
mm,
up that space because we have to do something, either eat or sleep when we go back to home or watch TV. And that's when we have to actually fill the void because we cannot link with nothingness. We must have something. And then obviously we just use whatever we have. Another important
right.
thing is establishing boundaries in professional life, personal life, and with your own self as well. Just to take things
Mm,
example, in UK and obviously in every developing country is one of the best thing is that no work after work time. After 5, no one will going to contact you. And
mm,
if even people are contacting you, you're not obliged to respond to them. So establishing boundaries, healthy boundaries, is very important to maintain that life. Develop your lifestyle, have something, a family time, personal time, exercise, meditation,
absolutely.
prayers, and
Yes.
make it a schedule, make it a routine so that your body knows that this is how I'm going to do. Read something, create something, and
Right.
in work life balance, establish boundaries with your own self as well. That I will
Yes.
only scroll social media for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we have, I believe, in the applications as well or timeout thing as well in our phone
Mm,
that it actually give us warning that you have used this much time in this app. So use those kind of things so that you get a daily reminder. and establishing boundaries with your own self as well, that I will not allow myself to do this. I will not allow myself to waste my time. I will not allow myself to work over clock until or unless it's an emergency. Because I'm in healthcare, and
True.
definitely I cannot say that I'm not available for emergency, because obviously that's against my profession.
Absolutely. I so second
So
that, seriously. That is so on point. So,
yeah,
speaking about, New Year also comes with like financial planning. There's
yeah.
even career growth. So these two things are often like mostly they are the top priorities for the new year for many people. So how can people use, let's say, psychological principles to stay
Hmm.
disciplined in these areas, according to you? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a little bit difficult and tricky one, but
Mhm. If you can just shed
it's
light
yeah,
on the mindset
yeah,
shifts, yeah, and measurable goals, what it could
yeah.
be.
Yeah, it's what we can do is we can create a list, right? Because a visual representation or visually something in written form actually adds more weightage to our psychological processing or cognitive processing. So, what I usually do is obviously how I budget my month and everything is that I create a list, right? If I want
Mhm.
something, how would I manage my balance? What are my necessities like rent, bills, and other things, food and travel? And after that, if I'm going to attend any course, I'm going to gain any skill, how am I going to do that? If there are free options, if there are complementary options, because there are a lot of such things as well. And again, identify your need and
Mhm.
just follow your need. Obviously, we must have a cheat day as well, because our natural
True.
human instinct actually fights
Yeah.
back. So we need to
Mhm.
have one day in a week, a cheat day as well. But create a list and identify what's your actual need are. So there's this thing that called need and want, right? Need versus want.
Mhm.
Create a list and identify if it is your need or it is your want,
Mhm.
because I'm sure that your want must be influenced by your
Right.
environment, your neighborhood, your social media, or people in your contact list, and just pursue your needs. I believe this is the best way how we can keep it on track.
Mr. Mubarak, let's talk about habits. Like a lot of our daily
Mm.
actions are driven by habits. So, how can our
Yes.
listeners break bad habits and replace them with healthier ones for 2025? Like, what should be the habit loops that you would
Yeah.
recommend?
Yeah, there's this thing in psychology we call behavior modification, all right? So we can use this
Mm,
behavior modification principles. So if we take an example of scrolling, well, I believe scrolling and just scrolling
mm,
aimlessly on social media is one of the biggest problems in today's world, because obviously it's
absolutely.
killing our time, it's affecting our relationships, our family time, our social time, and a lot of things. So
Right.
one of the problem is that we think that we can just stop doing it, and this is the solution. But unfortunately, this is not. We have to give an alternative reward to our brain. All right. For suppose, if I am doing scrolling, I need to
Mm,
fill that time with something. So what I would do is I would read book, I would draw, I would draw something, and I would involve in some kind of physical activity or some kind of an activity to replace that time. Why? So that our brain have this processing that, oh, right, I have something to do, because when there is nothing to do, definitely then your brain would go towards easiest option or the most lucrative option. So identify the habit and replace it with something that you are
mm,
interested to do. It can be cooking, it can be DIY, do it yourself projects, or drawing, art, do something with your family, do something with your friend, exercise, meditate. It's very important to replace it with something, and that's how the chain breaks. All right, and when the chain is broken, you can obviously create a new habit.
since you've just mentioned a while ago about the scrolling culture,
Mm,
in fact, when we conducted a survey, there was one question about this. But then let's speak in the broader sense that social media is definitely a double-edged sword, because people use it
Yeah.
for good, they use it mostly for bad. So how can people use social media mindfully to maintain their mental well-being?
One of the things that I started doing it unintentionally and unconsciously, I didn't know that I was doing it until unless I see today in history. So one of the
Mm.
things that I started doing it was unfollowing, muting, blocking, and just getting out of those kind of groups on social media. Right? How social media works? Social media, all the applications, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's actually work on algorithms. Whatever you are
Yes.
feeding to algorithm, they're going to show you more. So I believe it was 2010 or 11, I don't remember. I
Mm.
automatically started unfollowing or muting or deleting negative groups and negative information on my social media.
Mhm.
There was
Mhm.
this Facebook's unethical research as well. It's a very famous research that they
Mm.
shown. It was like 600,000 people or something. To half of them,
Mhm.
they showed negative feed, half of them positive feed, and their behavior actually modified because of that. So,
Mm.
important thing is that social media, I believe, is one of the best asset, is one of the best teacher, and one of the best strength if you know how to use it.
Mm.
So
True.
identify and just find out what are the bad things, what are the negative things that my social media is feeding me, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter,
Yes.
and just start unfollowing them. Right. And again,
Mm.
there's a free education. There is like tons and tons and tons of free education, free skill courses, and a lot of things that you can do. And obviously of your
Yeah.
interest as well, regardless of what your interest is. So what I do it now as well. I
Mhm.
continuously, because I
Mm.
don't have any space for any such thing that obviously affects me
Mm.
in terms of negative or bad. So I
Okay.
start unfollowing, muting, or deleting those kind of
Yes.
pages or profiles or those kind of thing, and find
Yes.
out things that work for you, right? Because I'm 100% sure that there are like millions and millions of such sources, and that's how we can actually build in the strength or skills from social media.
I just wanted to know that, you're so active on
Mm.
LinkedIn, and, you make sure that you post everything every time, something new. Sometimes doesn't it become, a little overwhelming
Mm.
for you? Yeah? No?
Yes, it is. First of all, yeah, I love to do it. As my profile says as well, one of the biggest mission of my life is to empower people, whoever I
Yes.
met or I do not met, if I can empower
Mm-hmm.
them. So this is one of my mediums to empowerment. And again, technology has become so advanced that you don't have to do it. Just the other day, there was someone at my hospital. She asked me that,
Mm-hmm.
how do you do that? You were here. How did you post it during the Christmas event?
True.
And I was like, everything is scheduled. So my secret is everything is scheduled.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't do it lively. I literally do it over weekends and I schedule the
Mm.
whole week. And so I the thing, whenever I like something, I save it or create note or I write a brief. And over weekend,
Mm.
I schedule these posts. So if you just reflect back, my posts are
Mm-hmm.
always on certain time, right?
Yes,
Because it is
true.
scheduled. It is not off the clock. It must be like
Okay.
1100 hours or 1130 hours because it is scheduled. So
Okay. See,
that's
that's
how
all
it
about
is.
time management. You know that it needs to go out, and you make sure.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
scheduling, because I believe you can schedule a post even a month in advance in
Right.
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I don't use other platforms, but
Yes.
as far as I know, it must be, if it's on LinkedIn, I believe it must be everywhere. And that's how I
Yes.
manage my life because I have quite a good following on LinkedIn.
Yes.
I receive
Absolutely.
tons and tons and tons of messages and
Yes.
people who message me on DM and even on my comment, they know that I don't
Mm.
reply because I'm not
Right.
there. How would
Correct.
I reply? Because
But no,
I'm not
honestly
there.
speaking, your page is so engaging because it's so easy. Like no one needs to be so
Hmm.
expert in this field, to gain knowledge or help. It's so easy to understand by anyone, especially the illustration. They're so easy to understand and they're very, very helpful. They're very engaging. I'm sure many of them actually they look forward when is your next post dropping. So it's really good. Yeah, really. So keep up the good work. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we've done a small survey with our
Yeah.
listeners, and we received actually many, many questions, but we've selected a few
All right.
to accommodate them in today's podcast. So we'll go with the first question. Yes.
All right.
The first question says, before we step into 2025, reflecting on 2024 can be incredibly valuable. So what are some,
Mhm.
questions we should ask ourselves during this reflection process, in your opinion?
Yeah. Some of the question to ask ourselves is what happened in 2024? What happened in this year? How I felt? What did I do? What actually worked for me? What did not work for me? What are the things that I want to take in 2025? What are the things that I don't want to take in 2025? What are the areas that I can improve myself or I can improve my well-being or my loved ones' well-being, and how I can just better fulfill my own needs. So I believe these are one of the most fundamental questions, and I believe if you're doing it right, it'll take a lot of time. So these
Yes.
are a few of the questions that I would ask myself as well.
Also, like, what did I learn? Or let's say, what
Yeah,
can I improve and what am I most proud of?
yeah,
Okay,
exactly,
perfect.
exactly. We
Okay,
gotta be
next
our own
question.
fan.
Yes, great. So we go take the next question. It says, what's the best therapy for anxiety?
Yeah. Globally, if we look at the trend and if we look at the evidence-based practice, because it's really important for us. So evidence-based practice is CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. But again, it depends on country to country, what therapies and what kind of modalities are accepted. So therapy of choice, according to research, is cognitive behavior therapy. But there are a lot of other modalities as well. You can use art therapy, you can use psychoanalytic therapy as long as it is accepted in your country. Because
Mm.
in UK, a lot of psychoanalytic therapies are not accepted. You can use EMDR as well, and you can use DPD kind of therapies as well. So choice of therapy is CBT, but there are other modalities as well that works for you. For suppose there are actually drama therapy as well. I recently
Oh,
learned about drama therapy, I believe last month,
that's
and
new.
yeah, exactly. And I'm trying to learn
Mm.
about music therapy as well. And
Wow.
if that works for you, so it's about what
Mhm.
works for you and
Right.
what is accepted in a country or region that you are living in.
Yes, very important.
Yeah,
All right. So our next question again is the same thing. Your best advice to eliminate scrolling culture. You've just answered that, a few minutes back.
yeah.
So we'll take the next question that says, what advice would you give to someone who feels stuck or unmotivated after facing repeated failures?
Hmm. One of the most important thing, and obviously I have been a failure all my life and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
One of the most important things that worked for me that I learned way late is accepting myself. Right? At times, we actually reject or we actually try to denounce our own self that is actually causing failure or that is actually causing these kind of things. And it can be a strength as well, and we can use that. So one of the most important thing is to just sit with yourself. Definitely at times you might need therapy, you might need counseling, you might
Mm.
need coaching or just someone to talk to. But take out your time. Is just sit with yourself in silence, put on some calming music, white noise, or any such kind of instrumental sound
Mm.
that helps you to calm down your brain and accept yourself as you are, regardless of how you are. So that is one of the most important thing. That's the first step. I believe that's one of the most difficult step, but when you've done that, obviously you're with the half arrow. Second thing is believe in yourself. I would just share this one important thing to my listeners that I literally started my life from zero again at the age of 29. I
Mm.
started studying psychology at the age of 29, literally at the age
Okay.
of 29, and here I am today. And it's never
Okay.
too late. A failures is actually a very honest strength because your strengths are already your strength. You're using them, but your failures are actually untapped potentials that you can use it for your own life, for your own well-being. I literally,
Yes.
I'm more impressed and I'm more inclined towards things I'm not doing right because that can be my strength. That can be a more tools in my toolkit. Accept yourself, believe in yourself,
Mm.
and use it. Because I'm 100% sure your failures will have some kind of a skill or a strength hidden beneath. Identify,
Absolutely.
use it.
So beautifully explained, Mr. Mubarak, really. When it comes to kids, again, scrolling
Yeah,
culture could be handled in a little different way. So the next question
yeah.
says, what is the best way to enhance the mental health of kids in this
Mm,
social media and digital game addicted environment? That's a very
yeah,
big concern, by the way, for many
exactly,
parents.
exactly. The important thing is that when we are children, when we are child, when we are young, our mind is actually very more active. Our body is active, and we need to give it some stimulus. Why it's important thing is to just replace those habits. We cannot just say that stop scrolling or stop using phone or put on your tablet or iPad. It doesn't work like that. engage in engage them in activities that they like, and even if they don't like something colorful, something interesting. Why Baby Shark is so popular? Because it attracts. So DIY kind of a project, things that they like. It can be cooking, it can be horticulture, it can be
Mm,
any kind of other project, something that they feel accomplished in, something they're interested in. Obviously it won't gonna happen overnight, but you can
yes.
start with baby steps. Important thing is to replace it with something. You cannot just leave a void, because if there's nothing, definitely our brain will go towards the first more important or first more interesting thing. Now, obviously, that's one of the most easier thing. Pick up a phone, pick up a tablet, and start scrolling. Replace it with a habit or activity, something that they like, something that is attractive, something that is interesting, and that's
Yes.
how we can create a new habit and we can break that chain.
Yes, absolutely. We'll take the last question with us, and it says, I'm dealing with PTSD after meeting my counselor post divorce. I felt judged, and the remarks received by her means the psychologist who she met, very hurtful and personal. How do I overcome this?
First of
Mm,
all, I'm very sorry that you have to go through
yeah.
this experience, because after PTSD and divorce, this is probably the worst thing what a person can face, especially with the psychologist or therapist you're meeting. So, first thing is just reflect with yourself, sit with yourself that this is not you, all right? Whatever they said about you, this is not you, and this is not right. Second thing is what we literally suggest is have an open communication with your therapist or psychologist that this thing that you have said, I felt that judged. I didn't feel good about it. It made me uncomfortable. This will help in readjusting their course if they are doing it unintentionally. Right? And if it continues to happen, then I will simply say change your therapist because it doesn't worth it. Yes, in literally in first instance, I don't accept these kind of behavior at all when you feel judged or when you feel targeted by your own therapist, but it may be
Mm,
something that they didn't mean. Again, I'm not sugarcoating it.
mm, yes.
I'm not silver lining it, but
Mhm.
reflecting it properly that it may be something that they probably did not meant, or probably there are cultural differences, because now we are living in a multicultural Dubai. I believe there are all the kind of
Mhm.
nationalities and ethnicities in Dubai, and
Yes,
we
yes.
are very different. Our cultures are different. Our languages are different. The way we communicate is different. It doesn't mean that therapists can just say whatever they want. They need to learn and adapt as well. But that's one of the
Yes.
most important thing is. So first thing is just sit with yourself and just tell yourself that this is not me. Whatever is said about me is not right. And obviously, second thing is have an open communication with your therapist or psychologist that, well, this thing that you said, I feel bad, I feel judged, I feel targeted, and look for a solution, how we can just make sure that it doesn't happen again. And if therapist or psychologist is not accepting the mistake, then the first thing I would say is find a new psychologist or find a new therapist.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Mubarak. I think we've come to the end of the questions. This has been such an insightful discussion. And before we let you go, finally, do you have, a motivational message or let's say a mantra to leave our audiences with as they prepare for the new year?
Yeah, my mantra, which I use in my life as well, is obviously three steps. First is
Hmm.
accept yourself as you are, regardless of how you are, good, bad, whatever, accept yourself. Second thing is believe it yourself. I wouldn't have been a lead psychologist today if I did not believe myself at the age of 29, right? And third thing is seek discomfort. Comfort is literally is a zone that will impair your progress, your well-being, and everything. Seek discomfort.
Yes.
To start with baby steps, obviously you don't have to move a mountain overnight. To start with baby steps, but seek discomfort. So accept yourself, believe in yourself, and seek discomfort.
Beautiful. I'm sure our listeners have found this conversation inspiring and practical as they gear up for 2025. Can you please tell our listeners how can they reach out to you in future for, let's say, consultation services?
Yeah.
If you may share your contact details and social media handles as well.
Yeah, the best way to reach out to me is my LinkedIn. I reply late, but I do reply to my DMs.
Yes.
So you can reply. You can either leave a message on my DM. If LinkedIn is not allowing that, then one of the closest and one of the fastest ways is email. So I believe, pop up an email with this podcast, or I'll just, I believe you already have my email. So if you can just share
Yes.
it with my listeners. So first thing would be my email address. Just pop up an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And second thing is my LinkedIn handle. So these two are the one that I can that I obviously use and that I'm most responsible.
Sure. To our listeners, we're going to mention Mr. Mubarak's email address and social media handle details in our description box. So don't miss to follow him and get in touch. And finally, thank you so much, Mr. Mubarak, for your valuable time and for coming to our show and sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really like this candid conversation and these kind of power. I think because literally that's my mantra and that's my mission of life. So really, really thank you. Thanks to you
Um,
and your platform for giving me this chance to address your audience.
yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Mubarak. To our listeners, remember that preparing for the future starts with understanding yourself, setting intentional goals, and taking care of your mental well being. I hope this episode inspires you to reflect, plan, and take action towards a successful 2025. Don't forget to follow us for more insightful conversations on Fine Talks. So, see you next time, and here's to a fantastic new year ahead.